Rusame reader, Rusong, and today I will be reading to you from Sticky Notes and Trinkets by RainbowStar_772. Now, on to Chapter 19, Rule Number 10, Cheerleaders Can Be Guys. Russia couldn't help but stare when he saw America going through the little shortened routines. He couldn't help it. America was hot. Though, he was mildly grumpy when he noticed that America was hiding his freckles. He couldn't help it when he pouted after noticing. The freckles were cute. Half of him wanted to count them like he tried to count the stars in the night sky when he was younger, whilst the other half of him just wanted to poke and touch each one. They just made America cuter in his personal opinion. Soon enough, it was halftime, meaning he and the rest of the band were out playing while moving. Eventually, they were back being in the unseen area of the sidelines. He just went back to looking at, or, well, not that he wanted to admit it, staring at America. He was dragged back to the normal world by someone tapping him. "He caught your eye, huh? I told you he would." Cuba laughed. "Though you should probably quit staring. You'll freak him out." "He's hot, and I probably am not the only one. Not that I like that particular thought." Cuba rolled his eyes, but let Russia be. Though before he walked off, he decided to impart a piece of advice on Russia. America recognized his handwriting, by the way. Heard Reinhardt was planning a group project, so don't get caught dead writing anything. Digitalize your notes or something. "Oh hell, I already have digital notes. I can't even read my own handwriting." Russia groaned, dragging a hand down his face. "English sucks. So does my English handwriting." Cuba rolled his eyes, but left Russia alone after that. Despite the words of warning, Russia went back to watching. Not staring at, fuck you, America, who was waiting for the next point to be scored. The uniform hugged America's form really well. The top was a neutral purple with white accents, and the skirt, which he believed to be a skirt, was white with a purple, the same purple as the top, stripe near the bottom of it. Right now, he could actually see that America had long hair, and could understand why America drew himself the way he did. It was in a ponytail, and there was a themed bow in it. It looked thick and fluffy, and he kind of wanted to mess with it and maybe bury his face in it. Soon enough, he was once again entranced by America doing a miniature cheer routine for another scored point. Usually, he didn't care if their team lost or won, but he would prefer if they won so he could see America perform like that more often. He was easily distracted until the game was over, and when it was time for them to play, as well as one last large cheer from the cheer team, he allowed himself to fall comfortably into the routine, playing the serpent. He didn't want to stare at America, just focused on what he was supposed to be doing. Soon enough, it was over, and they were getting back onto the bus. He opted to sit behind America, as he had on the ride there. He allowed himself to get lost in thought, only to be dragged back to reality by someone playing the Pornhub intro soundbite, which was promptly imitated by a trombone. He regretted befriending the band. Why had he allowed himself to become friends with them 3 years ago? He didn't know, but he regretted his choices immensely at the moment. He grabbed his headphones from his bag and put them on, not wanting to deal with this shit right now. He scrolled through his playlist and picked a song to listen to. He tapped Rule 34 by Fish in a Birdcage. He ended up humming to it as he listened to it. He also closed his eyes to allow himself to forget about his surroundings. After a while, he opened his eyes and watched out the window, realizing they were getting closer to his house. They were at their first stop. He watched a girl he didn't know the name of get off the bus. She was covering up a lot for someone who was a cheerleader. She also had a cross necklace. He subtly peered over and noticed that America was wrapped in a pretty blanket, and his hair looked short again. He didn't like either fact that much, but the blanket was forgivable, but how short the hair was made to look was not. He sunk back into his seat and went back to listening to music, though he was grumpy this time. Eventually, he was getting off the bus and heading into his home. He went to his room and carefully put away his instrument before collecting some comfortable sleeping clothes and getting out of his uniform. He'd seen America get into his cheer uniform during gym, so he might take a page out of the cutie's book and change during gym. It was a good idea, and it would probably be a lot more comfortable than changing in a most likely unfamiliar place. Once he was comfortable in his pajamas, he folded his uniform before getting comfortable in his bed. He allowed himself to fall into a deep sleep. He yawned and stretched as he got up, attempting to rub the sleep from his eyes. He headed to the bathroom to take a shower. Once he was clean, he hopped out of the shower and got dressed for the day, before heading to the kitchen to make himself a cup of coffee. Dobre jutro, Papa, he mumbled, taking a sip of coffee. That roughly translates to, "Good morning, Dad." Dobre jutro, Lucia, his papa responded. How was the first week? Again, the Russian roughly translates to, "Good morning, Russia." Good other than a couple of stupid-ass people. Sure, Captain Scoot, he tiredly said, and took another few sips of the coffee. She interests you, I take it? His father asked in a teasing tone that flew over one very tired Russia's head. Russia tiredly and absent-mindedly corrected. And yeah, he brightens pretty much any room he steps foot in. He has low self-esteem, though, and the people are assholes. Soviet laughed a little at that, opting to listen to his son ramble for a while. Over the next week, Russia received more gifts. One every fucking day. On Monday, he found a handmade bunny plush. On Tuesday, he found a bear sticker with some pressed flowers that he recognized as orchids. He found a bracelet with the colors of the bisexual flag on Wednesday. Whoever was giving him these things was paying attention to him, as it was in the order of the bisexual flag. He had a small pin on his Oshanka as a subtle nod to his sexuality. Thursday, he found a very small flower-patterned quilt. That was currently on his bed. It was getting ridiculous at this point. He was currently on the bus to school. He had no doubts he'd find another gift in his locker today. Ukraine, do you think I could convince Papa to let me have an Uber home? I need to find whoever is leaving stuff in my locker. No shot. If you do, it'll take a few days. And who knows, they might stop. In response to that, Russia shoved his head into his hands and groaned. And that is the end of this chapter. I hope you enjoyed. Anyway, I'd like to invite you to join the Discord, which is linked down in the description below. That being said, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, night, or whatever it is for you. Just enjoy your time. And I will see you tomorrow.